Hey friend, I'm so glad you're here with me today. Today is number 4 in our 5-week series on saving money on your food and grocery spending. And I hope you have enjoyed the episode so far. These skills are designed to help you save hundreds of dollars every single month on your food and groceries and thousands of dollars each and every year going forward. So in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about a skill that is really easy to learn and something that will save you tons and tons of money, even more so going forward, and that is learning to make items from scratch. So I'm actually going over 2 really easy examples that can get you started. And I think you will see that these are examples that you probably use within your family quite often. So the savings will really add up over time. So we're going to break down these items today and exactly how to make them, how much these recipes cost, and just to show you the comparison in buying at the store already prepared versus making them from scratch. So you can start learning how to do this without getting overwhelmed easily, and you will really enjoy your food much, much more, I promise. So let's dive in. Okay, for your family, what's really going to be the first step is to look at your grocery receipts. So hang on to your receipts for a while and look at the items that are costing the most money. Scan down the price column on your receipts and look for those items that jump out as just costing more money than a lot of the other items. Those are some great places to start. So look at each of those items and identify just one that you want to learn how to make from scratch. Now, if it is a single ingredient, like let's say avocado oil or coconut oil or something, those are going to be more expensive as a single ingredient, and there's not a lot you can do to make that item yourself. So that's not really what I'm looking for here. It's really what you're wanting to look for is something that is more of a meal that has multiple ingredients that go into it. So we're going to break down 2 different recipes in today's episode that are pretty common in my family and I think in the majority of families. And even if they're not something that your family makes a lot, again, look at those receipts to identify something that you would like to make from scratch. Then what you're going to do once you have identified an item is you're going to just get on the internet and search recipes, especially using the word easy recipes for whatever the food is that you chose. So let's break down the first recipe. It is breaded chicken strips. So I don't know if you are like my family and you ever buy those bags of chicken strips that are already breaded that you can throw in the air fryer or throw in the oven, or even like chicken nuggets that they're very similar, chicken patties, any of those, or you can microwave them, for example. So that is what I'm looking for. And so what I'm going to do in this recipe today is the breaded chicken strips. My family likes to eat them for dinner pretty often. My kids love these. I don't love them as much, but my kids do. And we usually pair it with something like macaroni and cheese and a quick veggie that the kids don't tend to eat, but got to throw that in there. Okay, so my cost, I'm going off of my cost at my grocery store. Of course, the prices are going to be a little bit different for yours, but do your research, look on your grocery apps, and they'll give you the prices. So this particular week, the cost of a couple different brands at my store, Foster Farms was $8.99 for a bag, and Tyson was $9.99 for a bag, and that was about 7 to 8 chicken strips per bag. So in each of those bags, I had about 7 to 8 chicken strips that they would make. So one was just under $9 and one was $10. And they were, I can't remember if they were on sale. They do sometimes go on sale for a little bit less, and so you can adjust your prices accordingly. This is with real numbers that I could find this week. So then when I looked at making them myself, then you need chicken, of course. So at my Fred Meyer, we had boneless, skinless chicken breasts. 2-pound pack was $5.54 per package. That was the cheapest deal that I could find. And it will make 16 chicken strips, so double the recipe, basically 2 bags worth. And that would equal out about $2.77 per pound. And another option, of course, is that you can still make the quantity of 8 chicken strips that is equivalent to one of the bags. And then you have 4 other chicken strips to save for other meals throughout the week or freeze them for some other time. So it's up to you. So if we want to compare one bag to one bag, then you only have to use half of the chicken that you just purchased at this price. The next ingredient that we need for the chicken strips is some kind of a wet coating, like a coating that you're going to coat the chicken in, something that's going to bind our crispy coating, which will be the next item. So for your wet coating options, we've got butter, we've got oil, buttermilk, egg. You can even use like a sauce, a flavored sauce like barbecue sauce, buffalo sauce, anything like that. So whatever you have on hand, you can use. So don't spend money on these if you have any of these options on hand. That's why I wanted to put them on there. Some people even use milk, regular milk. If you don't have anything on hand, then I added the egg price, and Kroger cheapest egg that I could get for a dozen was $2.89. Okay, and then last but not least, as I mentioned, you will need a crispy coating. This is for the breading on the outside. So again, try to use what you already have. That's going to reduce your cost further. Some of the examples are flour, crushed up cereal like cornflakes works really well, or Rice Krispies, just crush those up really fine, and that can be a great coating. Breadcrumbs, of course, is another coating. Grated Parmesan cheese is another option, and you can even mix that in with the flour or the cereal if you want a combination. You can make your own breadcrumbs if you have stale bread, and any combination of these will work just to make some kind of a flavoring that is crispy on the outside. And of course, you can add in any seasonings that you have on hand, or just salt and pepper totally work fine as well. So for this example, I did put on here if we needed to buy breadcrumbs, the cheapest that I could find was the Kroger brand at $1.49. So if you only have to buy the chicken, your total cost is the $5.54 for the 2 pounds of chicken. Remember, that's twice as much than we needed to make an equivalent of one bag of chicken strips, up to $9.92 if you also need to buy the eggs and you need to buy the breadcrumbs. But you'll have half the chicken left over. Most of your eggs will be left over for other meals, and most of your breadcrumbs also will be left over to use for meals in the future. And here's a little pro tip. If you really want, you can cut the chicken into smaller pieces before you go through the recipe, and you will end up with chicken nuggets, of course. Once they're done, you have your same chicken strips that are the equivalent of a $9 and $10 bag of Foster Farms or Tyson. Now, of course, those were $9 and $10 for the bag for 8 strips. And in our example, we have only used the $5.54 up to $9.92, but we again have half the chicken left over, most of the eggs, and lots of breadcrumbs. So we can remake this recipe again, and we've cut our price in half at the very least. And we still will have eggs and breadcrumbs left over if you choose to use up all of the chicken in this way. So you can see how much this would save you just doing this from scratch at home, and it tastes way better. It's not very long and tedious to actually do this. Okay, so my other example is dinner rolls. So in our family, a lot of times the kids just like a roll on the side with their meals. So I chose this as another popular, easy to do recipe that you can make from scratch and save a lot of money. So we're going to go through the breakdown in cost of what it was going to take for the recipe that I found. But even just doing a general internet search for dinner roll recipes, for easy dinner roll recipes, you'll find all kinds of them. So choose based on what you have on hand, or what looks the most appetizing, or what looks the most similar to what you already buy. Okay, so one ingredient that on the recipe that I found, I was going for very simple, minimal ingredients. The first one was water. The next one is milk. So for a gallon of milk, if you had to buy everything, you're looking at my store this week was $3.49 for the cheapest gallon of milk. That is 16 cups total of milk, and we're only going to be using 2 cups. So that gives us 8 possible servings of milk for dinner rolls. And I should say, this is a 24 count dinner roll recipe. Sometimes you can buy them in 12 packs or in 24 packs, but we're going to go into what I was able to find. The next ingredient is butter, So currently I can get a box of butter for $4.19. That is for 4 sticks of butter, but we only will need to use 3 tablespoons, which there are 32 tablespoons in a pack, so therefore 10 servings when we buy the butter. Next up is sugar at $3.29 a bag. That is for 4 pounds of sugar. We're only going to need 2 tablespoons of this. So if you want to buy a smaller container, you can. This was just the best deal because we use sugar for other things. At 2 tablespoons needed, that is 145 tablespoons in the bag, which is 72 servings of sugar. Salt is the next one, and it is 79 cents for a container. That is a 26-ounce container. We only need 1 tablespoon. There are 52 tablespoons in our container, so therefore 52 servings of our salt. And of course, if you're anything like us, you use salt in a lot of different recipes, so it's not like you will just need it for this recipe. The next one that I needed for this particular dinner roll recipe was instant yeast. For us, it was $5.99 for a jar of the yeast, which is a 4-ounce jar. And we needed to use 2.5 tablespoons. And there are 33 tablespoons in a jar, so that came out to about 13 servings of instant yeast. And then flour is $2.69 a bag. This is a 5-pound bag. We need to use 6 cups, and there are 18 cups in the bag. So in the bag of flour, we have 3 servings of 24-count dinner rolls that we can make. So this comes to if you needed every single one of these ingredients, which for us, we have most of these on hand majority of the time. We run out intermittently, so we would only be buying one of these things at a time, most likely, maybe 2 of them. But if you decided to start, you had none of these right now at our local store, it would cost $20.44 to buy them. But as I explained through the servings, the number of servings, the smallest item that we had would still give us 3 servings of 24-count dinner rolls. Now, if you only wanted to make 12, then you've got 6 servings of rolls that this cost is going to come to. So I want to compare the 24 dinner roll count because right now this week as I was looking these up, that's all I could buy because all of the 12-count rolls were completely sold out. So the lowest I could buy was a 24-count pack of rolls. So that is why I did the recipe compared to the pack that I could purchase. Okay, so when I was actually looking at in the store for what rolls I could buy already made, the actual cheapest dinner rolls that I found would have been the Private Selection brand at $5.98 for the 24 rolls. So that is slightly less than what I can make them at the $6.81. But they were sold out, of course, because they were the cheapest rolls you could find. So they were completely sold out and they were not an option. The cheapest that were actually available were the Franz brand, and they came to $7.98 for 24-count roll. So in my scenario, you will need to invest about $20 up front if you don't have a single one of these items on hand, which I bet you at least have milk and butter and salt on hand, probably sugar as well, and probably even flour if you are like most households. But if you had none of these available, you invest $20, you can make the first 3 24-count batches, and it's still cheaper per batch. So at this point, then you would need another bag of flour at the $2.69, and then you'd get another 3 more batches of the 24-count rolls. You'd still have all of the other ingredients on hand. So once you buy your flour at $2.69 for the second 3 batches of these rolls, those second 3 batches of 24-count rolls only cost you about 90 cents a batch. So the first 3 batches were already cheaper at $6.81, but the second 3 batches are 90 cents for each batch. So over time, you can see how it is so much less money to make these items from scratch. And if you don't want to only make the dinner rolls, of course, you have all of those ingredients left over that will make so many different things like English muffins, bread, biscuits, crescent rolls, hamburger and hot dog buns, non-flat bread, sweet rolls, pita bread, soft pretzels, pizza dough, pancakes and waffles, cake, croissants, scones, crackers, donuts, pie crust, bagels, and so much more. So with those same ingredients, there are almost endless things that you can make. So your cost per item is drastically lower when you learn how to make something from scratch. I would like to challenge you to try one item that would really save you some money on your receipt. And even if you don't even know if it would save you money, look for an expensive item that's already prepared for you that your family does buy and consume. And then do a little research. I want you to look up on your store's app right now each of the ingredients that you would need to make them. Find a recipe, look the ingredients up, and just do the math. See what it would cost total to make the items. How much would it cost to make the equivalent of what you purchased, and compare. Is the price the same? Is it less? Is it more, but you would have the ingredients left over to make many more times? Look and see, is it worth doing yourself? And would it really be pretty simple and easy to learn how to do? And just start small. Do not get yourself overwhelmed, because that is the way to quit, but find one item and learn how to make it. Make it a few times, get good at it so you're really comfortable with making that item over and over for your family before you move on to finding the next item. That is the way to stick to it and reap all of the savings over time for your family. This will save you so much money every single month and every single year going forward. So comment and let me know if you plan on trying this. I want to know what you plan to make. Or if you already make certain items from scratch to save your family money, let us know what they are. We all can share these ideas with each other, kinds of things that we can make quickly, easily, with minimal cost that would actually save us a lot compared to what we have to buy those items for already made. Share your ideas so we can all save more. I hope this episode has blessed you, and don't forget to subscribe and be here for next week's episode. Is our last and final on our 5-week series. Of course, we'll talk about food costs going forward, but the series will wrap up next week, and it's a good one. So make sure you come back and listen to that one as well. And go back and listen to the first 3 if you have missed any part of the series, because this is designed to save you, your family, hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands and thousands of dollars over time on your food and grocery spending each and every month. Thanks for being here with me today, and I will talk to you next week. Blessings to your family.